Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. How are you doing? Maybe I feel like I look like I have lots of energy. Actually, I don't today. I'm just so exhausted. I can see it on the on the feedback on the webcam. That just you can see I can barely open my eyes. But how is everyone doing today? Today's stream may be a bit short. I don't know. We'll see. As you can see on the description, I put some topics for today. Instead of following some tutorials and creative things, I thought, what about talking about no-code tools? But yeah, that's just a suggestions more than anything really. Hey Yinch, how you doing? How's the weekend going? Metamurai, thank you so much for your subscribe on Twitch for the 20th month. Amazing. Thank you very much for your support. And you say almost forgot to resub. Yeah, well you did, right? Thank you so much. And right at the start of the stream, so that's perfect. Thanks. Yinch, no code is a good idea. Good. I feel that's the kind of topic that has been on everyone's mind for quite some time now in the tech ecosystem. But at some point, we have seen so many news about no code and new tools. You have to try this and that. It kind of slowed down a bit, but there's still a bunch of news, a bunch of updates, even though there's already many tools that many people are familiar with. There's also still some news and some people who are still raising lots of money on that. Yinshu say you're taking the weekend easy so far. Good, great. But there's some work to do that needs looking at some point. Yeah, I know what you mean. I also have my to-do list for the weekend, and now I do that almost every weekend because I realized that I am much more productive. And what I mean by productive is that sometimes or during the weekend I just do nothing, and I spend the entire weekend kind of in a sleepy mode where my brain is just off, and I just browse Instagram, check Facebook, where there's absolutely nothing to really do and nothing interesting there. But still, I kind of not do anything that is very stimulating or anything. But there's also weekends where I'm like super packed and I have so many things to do, and I feel more energized after weekends where I actually do some things. So just to help me accomplish a few things every weekend, I realized that just having a to-do list, even if it's not binding, right? It's just a personal to-do list. So some days I put some things on my to-do list I know might be tricky to do, or a bit ambitious, or don't necessarily depend on me. It more depends on external factors. For example, if I put on my to-do list, oh, I want to exercise this amount of time, but actually on the morning I feel a bit dizzy or whatever, a bit tired, I may not do it, and that's okay. It's more like an objective, a goal. And if I don't do everything, that's okay. If I manage to do a few items, that's already a big win. And what I do is I try to decompose it into very small tasks. So there is a mix of things. Some tasks are very easy, such as, oh, remind this to this person because they ask you to do so, or answer some of your DM because you have some unanswered DM on LinkedIn or on Twitter. So that's the kind of things that are okay. That takes a few minutes, but it's very easy to do. And sometimes there's some tasks that are slightly bigger, like, oh yeah, do UI accounting, or look at this, or learn more about that. So it's more of a kind of a guidance, or more of an objective, more than a strict to-do list, unless there's really a deadline. But I found that it helps a lot. And I think Yinch, it's you today on the Discord that mentioned something about your weekend to-do list. The fact that, yeah, you're working and you have some stuff to do, but in the same time, you don't feel really bad if you don't do it. Like, it's okay, it's slightly more flexible. I think it's you who said that. Or was it Zappa? Oh, I can't remember. It was the entire conversation, and I find it actually, yeah, a nice way to put it, right? You may have a bunch of things that you would like to do, but then it's the weekend also, you know? So if you just do one or two things, because sometimes your body needs to rest, especially over winter time. I mean, it's cold outside. You need to sometimes just stay inside, stay warm, and just sleep. And sometimes you just feel like you need to have a break, or just having a break from the computer. I think that's also a big problem, is when you're doing something on the weekend but that's still on the computer. Sometimes at the end of the weekend you don't really feel rested because you have this eye stain, and that's very uncomfortable. And like today, like I think I'm a bit tired, but more importantly, I think I have some kind of eye stain where it's just a pain looking at the camera because it's slightly higher than if I was looking at my phone or at a paper or whatever. And so it's just pain in the eye, and you just want to close your eyes for a few hours. Yin, you say you're going to be listener only for a short while. Yeah, sure. No worries. I know you're around, and actually, it's always nice to have you around. It's yeah, always a pleasure to have you on the stream, whether you're listening or just chatting, whatever. Something I've started doing this week, and I've started reaching out to a few people to be our next guest for the next AMA. Zappa made a very good suggestion on the Discord this week, so I can't remember her name. I reached out to her this morning on Twitter. I don't think that I could DM her, but what was her name? Why can't I see anything on my Discord? Oh, okay, yes, I can now. This was. Oh, you don't have. There's not her name on it on the link I received, so that's why I didn't remember her name. Anyway, that seems to be a very good suggestion from Zappa, from a nice founder that has been recently featured in a YouTube video and an AMA, but they were talking about a very specific topic related to her business. But they weren't really talking much about her own entrepreneurial journey, what she's been through, so it was really more about the tech and how, like a very specific topic. So I reached out to her. Hopefully, we'll be able to have her on the stream. Otherwise, I have other ideas and more people want to reach out to over the weekend. The weekend is a good time for that. I don't know if everyone is happy for me to reach out to them on the weekend, but it's a good time to just think about that and just sit down on the couch and just send a few messages to potential guests. And I'm also being very excited as soon as I start reading more about some potential guests, and I'm like, oh yeah, I would definitely want to hear more about this and that, and I check their LinkedIn profile, and then I immediately have some questions that come to mind about specific area of what they're working on. Hey Roy, how are you doing? How's the weekend so far? Honestly, I wish I had one more weekend day this week. Monday is going to be hard, and I know that already. I said it on Twitter, but I have kind of added a bunch of things on my plate recently, and that's good in some way. But that also means that I feel a bit more stressed, and busier, and like for example this week I barely had the time to do any exercising and to do sports, like to have a break at the end of the day because I was immediately switching to something else. So I just feel like, yeah, maybe just one day to do my to-do list plus one day just to really rest. That would be ideal, just an extra day between Saturday and Sunday, or after Sunday before Monday starts. That would be just magic. But yeah, no. How about for you, Rory? Any plans, any to-do list, or anything on your mind for this weekend, or you just like getting some rest, which is great. Doing good. Well, that's great to hear. I feel that there's lots of people that have been quite busy this January. While I mentioned it several times before, December was for me very slow, and I really felt the 1st of December where everyone I've been in touch with starting kind of disappearing step by step, getting into the holiday season, and it was very long December. January is actually going so fast, and yeah, kind of very busy. I'm sure there's a lot of founders also. Hey, Zappa, you made it, yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of founders like us that use the winter time to take a step back and reflect. And as I said before, I think that's something that is a great opportunity over the Christmas season and the holiday season, is really to take a step back, think about what you've been doing during the year, and also, and more importantly, why you're doing it and how you're doing it. Like, is it really working? And sometimes it's very hard because there are some actions, some things that you implement, and it's hard to track if it's actually working, or it's hard uh, to measure, to have some metrics to use for that. And it's okay. I mean, especially if you're still in your early days, there's also a lot of things that you have to feel. You have to feel that, okay, we've given it a try to this. Is it the best thing to do? Maybe not. Should we keep doing that? Should we try another aspect, another thing? So yeah, I think the winter time is especially good for that. My co-founder and I, we did that every winter or every holiday season, or around Christmas time. That has been so far always a time for us to ask ourselves the big questions. And it's funny because over summertime, there's also some kind of slowdown when people are on holiday, but it doesn't feel the same. So all these big questions about how we're doing it, the future, what does the year will look like, that's the kind of thing that we really focus on over Christmas and every time so far. So our company is now 3 years old, and every time we start January with kind of ambitious things to do, that are timely, so that have to happen quite fast and that we really want to get done. And usually our main goal is going to happen like in the first 3 months or something like that. And it's so far we are in the second year of the company, and yeah, that's kind of always big deal decisions. Roy, you say that you've been persuaded to get a journal to organize yourself better for the week. That's great. Are you doing it on paper or online? I know that I've done both, and I found both are really good. Um, the thing with online to-do lists is to find the right tool for you. There's so many tools out there, yeah, that you could be using, and if you don't know exactly, if you're just getting started, I found that it's easier to start on paper, so you kind of understand what level of to-do list you need to really get the most productive. Because you have so many tools, you don't know which one to choose, which one will really fit the way you like to work. And also, if you start some tools but you're not going to use them because you don't necessarily like them, or you don't remember to use them, then it kind of lose its purpose, right? You say recording if the goals that I've written down at the start of the week have been achieved by the end. So you have reading targets, learning German targets. I see, yeah. So it's not necessarily like work to-do list, but it's more like personal to-do list, thing that you want to achieve. Um, how is it working for you so far? Does it help? I find it helps. It helps me also reflect on month per month, because even if I also do it week by week, um, every week I record, okay, how many times did I exercise? Um, how long in total have I been active? So I count into it, walking for a few hours, and it helps me keep track week per week. And then when I look back, I'm like, okay, that's right, this week I was maybe a bit slow, I didn't do as much as I wanted, but last week I did a lot, so maybe next week I'll be able to reach that too. You can't just keep going with the same type of productivity week after week. So it's actually a good way of reflecting on the past, what you've been up to in the past. Yin should say it takes discipline to journal, and it's not a trivial effort. That's correct. Yes, I guess it depends how how you start journaling. Um, if it's about getting more organized or trying to be a bit more productive with some kind of to-do list system, that's actually not the same thing as people who are journaling for their mental health and really take some time during the day to write about their feeling, to write about how they react to some situation. So it's slightly different, right? It depends how you use that. Roy, you say that you used to write a journal, a to-do list on a LibreOffice file each week, but you think that physically writing down is better. Yeah, it kind of helps. It may be easier. I guess it depends what your journals look like. If you're using a journal just for your to-do list and to keep track of your progress, and page after page it's just the record of your journal, then that's fine. If you're also using it as your notepad to note everything during meeting, or that you bring with you everywhere, that becomes tricky, because then you have like, okay, this is journaling, and then you have a few pages of notes and quick notes from meetings or things you thought about during the day, and then journaling again. Like, it can be a bit messy, and that's why I've moved to online personally, because at least I can have one file with everything that is about my to-do list, and keep my notebooks just for notes, so I don't keep trying to find my last to-do list in there, and then you end up over the different years with lots of different notebooks, and you're like, should I throw them away? Should I keep them somewhere? I've done a bit of both, depending on the years. Sometimes it's good to keep some notes, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go over them again, or not. But yeah, journals are good for that. It kind of also bring you back to that specific time, that specific year. Has anyone here, talking about no code, has anyone here used recently any new no code tools or anything like that? Um, in December, I came across a very interesting challenge, and I wanted to take part of it. It was a challenge. I can't remember who launched it, but then MicroAcquire, the platform to acquire SaaS startups, have joined the challenge, saying, okay, so the challenge is about building your company. I think it was with no code tool. but I'm not sure about that. But basically, building your company in the open for 30 days, and then when Micro Acquire join the challenge, they say, okay, so if you do the challenge and you manage to sell your company via our platform, we'll give you, I think it was a cash prize, or they will help in some way. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. Not necessarily because Micro Acquire jumped on it, but that's how I heard about it. And I thought about joining the challenge, thinking, well, that could be an opportunity. I already had some ideas in mind, and eventually I got so busy. But I've already, started thinking about this idea, and that why you said that you're scared of any tools that doesn't allow you to code, and I get you. So I have some kind of love-hate relationship with no code tools too. I mean, I think that's a great idea, and I understand how it can be very useful. I have met so many founders that are not technical founders who have these ideas and they want to build a prototype. So they just want to build a prototype to get feedback, or to start raising money, or to show what their idea is and then get some other people excited about it. And I get that. Every time I've tried to do a project with some no-code tools, I was always feeling like I was worried that I would be stuck on this tool, because several times it happened that you start a project and you're like researching what would be the best tool, and you think you found it, and then you realize, well, actually maybe not. You realize that, okay, you spend 4 hours on it and now you're stuck because, well, this functionality is key and you can't do it, and you didn't really realize it firsthand, right? So that's a bit of a problem. I find that every time you're stuck at some point because there is something you want to do and you can't do. So it wouldn't make sense to shape your project based on the tool, right? I mean, you have your idea and you want to focus on that, and not the other way around. You don't build something because you're using this specific platform. You choose the platform because you have this specific idea in mind. Where you haven't used no code, you saw no code being used by young children and it looked cool. It does, yeah. No, you can do a bunch of things, and it can be a great way to introduce young people to development, because you say, okay, so you can use this platform, it's great. Now, if you want to do more, you have to learn how to do that, and you can. I feel that would be a best motivation for that. But there are some platforms that are pretty nice. I know that some of our previous guests are really big fan of no-code tools. I'm thinking especially about Fajar, or Mod Danish, who was here in December on the stream. I think it was December. So I think they are pretty great fans of no-code tools. Yeah. Last time I've tried one, I remember I was trying to do an app. So I've never built an app before. I was trying to do an app, and what I wanted to do was to have an app that is more or less an RSS feed, right? So an RSS feed reader where I could just gather different news from different magazines, online magazines, and read them in one place, right? That's pretty straightforward. And I've tried to do it just coding, and I got stuck pretty quickly. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really have much time. What I wanted was the result, and at that time I didn't have much time just for the learning process, so I was trying to speed it up. Anyway, so I've tried some new code tools, and every time what I found is that if you want something that is a bit dynamic, so not a static app, you had to pay. And if it's just to build an app for yourself, I didn't want to pay because the price structure didn't work out if it was for me, right? So it was the big limitation that I had every time. And sometimes when you have especially a specific feature in mind, it's tricky because you have to find in this tool, how does it work? Is it here? Can I do that? Is it free? And it's not always super straightforward, right? Zappa, the thing with code is that you can automate things, reuse, and move really fast. Visual tools require a lot of mouse usage and fumbling around with UI. That's correct, yes. But then I don't think it's really the target for these tools. I don't think it's really developers who want to go faster, because it's not faster. I think it's more for people who may not be very familiar with some languages, who want to do something different or don't have the skills to do it, more than going faster for people who already know how to code. Hey Junster, how are you doing? How's the weekend so far? Yin, she say using no code to do early prototypes is limiting. It is, yes, especially if you have something in mind specifically. Yeah, probably need code to have flexibility, but after an engine has been stabilized, then the content production process has to transition from code-centric to designer-centric and creator-centric, and those work better as no code. Yes. If you think about engines like game engines, for example, so true, yes. I mean, you are going to have developers in your team if you're building such a creative project, but the main people who are going to use it may not all be developers, and so it has to definitely be open to anyone who has a more creative approach to it, right? But this is, yeah, I don't know if it's really, can we call a game engine a no-code tool? I don't know. Does it fit the category? I don't even know. Maybe in some way. Yeah. There's actually still companies raising a bunch of money around the no-code applications and ecosystem. I don't know what are the main companies and like brands or platform. I know I've tried Glide. Glide was nice to do some app. But then I haven't tried that many, and I know that every time I've spoken to someone who was looking at no-code tools, they were mentioning names that I've never heard of. I think Bubble also is quite popular, and I've tried once. Well, I've looked for information about Softr once, and that's something I'd like to look a bit more into, because I think their focus is actually on founders for prototyping something that is web-based. They recently raised this week 13 million, and that's super cool. I mean, that's great to see, and that's good for them. I don't know how's the ecosystem right now for no-code tools, but I know that 2 years ago there were no-code tools looking to fundraise at every corner, everywhere. That was what lots of people were working on. So I don't know if it's just that now there's so many actors that the market is already quite busy, and it's hard to be a new actors in the space, or if it's just that I have not been keeping track of new fundraising news and this kind of news for the past few months. Johnster, my weekend is going all right. Have you been? Doing good. I'm sure you can tell with my face. I am pretty tired today, so yeah, I'm a bit slow, and my eyes are a bit painful. But it's okay. It's good to be tired, but to be active, you know. So yeah, I'm doing good. Yinch, I think the true no-code tools have a different structural paradigm. So something like Scratch or Bolt or even Blueprint are visual representation of code-like structure. Yeah, and so usually when you do have blueprints and these kind of things, you have the option, right? You have the option to use something that is on the top of the code that simplifies and gives you a visual representation, as you say. But you also have the choice to just dig into the code. Like blueprints are used a lot in game engines, and so you don't have to use blueprints. You can if you don't know how to code, but you can also just do it and develop what you want to do directly without having to use them. That's just an option for the people who don't code or want to use them in a specific manner that maybe will save them time. I'm not sure. But yeah, it doesn't reduce complexity to use this kind of thing. So it's more like a layer to maybe make a tool a bit more accessible to a certain type of people, but it's not necessarily reducing what you can do with it. Yeah. Roy, did you put an all-nighter? Oh no. No, I didn't. I haven't for a very long time. I don't really do parties and stuff like that. No, I haven't slept well. That I can definitely say. I haven't slept well. I've been thinking about a bunch of things. So it's it's you think about something and you're like, crap, I don't want to think about that, and then you think about something else, and it's as stressful as the first one, and you're like, no, I don't want to think about that, and in the end you spend just the entire night trying to get your head to sleep, right? Trying to get your head to stop thinking about stuff. That's okay. And maybe also I made the mistake to be on my phone this morning. I thought, oh, I'm going to relax, be on the couch. I ended up on my phone and my eyes didn't like that. Morning too early and spending a few hours on the phone, not the best. Juster, what do you think of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard for $69 billion? That's big news, right? I don't really have strong views on that. I understand the great aspect for them, the social situation for Activision Blizzard, and maybe that could help them in some ways solve that or direct attention from that. In terms of the ecosystem in video games, it's there's always been a big gap between when you're an indie developer trying to develop your indie game and when you have money and you're in a bigger studio. But now I feel that the gap is even bigger than ever because you have less and less studios in the middle. You have like Microsoft that owns all these big names, and so you also have the small ones, the indie studios, and in between you have less and less independent, mid-size or large studios. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. It's funny because it's Microsoft. Everyone has been talking about whether the deal will go through because of monopoly rules, right? But thing is, Microsoft, even acquiring Activision Blizzard, they wouldn't be the number one on the market. They would still be number three because you have bigger fish, right? That's crazy to say, but yeah, you have bigger than that. So I think it will go through. But yeah, is it something that has to happen? I mean, can something good get out of that? For example, having less segmentation for players, more synergies between studios. I don't know. I feel that Microsoft strategy seems to be more on letting the studios that they acquire do their own thing, keep doing their own thing, but maybe on the long run some synergies can happen and can support some studios, or maybe spread some good practices and learning and technology also. Just people say it might relate to the metaverse, if you heard of that. I've heard this. Yeah, I've heard some people saying that. I don't know. I mean, if Microsoft wants to go big into the metaverse, they don't need to acquire anyone for that. So I don't know. I don't really necessarily believe that. And I think I actually saw a news from I think it was from Xbox saying that it wasn't necessarily the metaverse. Yeah, I think if they want to if they want to go big and do something metaverse related, what is the metaverse? That's the biggest question. That's not one platform necessarily. So yeah, they're definitely strong. Microsoft is really strong in terms of gaming. I mean, it was strong even before acquiring such large studios, and they have been on a buying spree for a long time now. It's been years since they're buying a large amount of the actors. And we haven't seen much difference, to be honest. Maybe more games on the Game Pass, but I haven't seen much different from studios that they have acquired. Maybe it changes more internally. That's quite possible. I don't have the intel on that. But for sure, it's hard in the gaming industry when you're a small player, and we've seen that. We are seeing that with our company, and that's why this year, talking about acquisition, this year we're actually trying to explore how to join forces with a bigger player. And when I say join forces, I mean getting acquired and getting our tech used and acquired by a bigger player. Just because when you're small, especially with this big ecosystem where you have such big players and very small ones, it's very tricky. You have very long sales cycle, and so that doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just, okay, here's the situation, so what's the best way to navigate that? Johnster, do you think a metaverse is possible within the next decade? Well, it's possible today. It has happened before. It depends on how you define a metaverse. Do we need to have everything on the same platform? I don't think so. Do we want it to be a private place owned by someone like Meta? Maybe not. It really depends what fits into a metaverse. Technically, when you look at Roblox or Minecraft, or even Second Life was the best example. It already existed. You had this virtual world, you had the currency that you use inside. I mean, technically, it's here. It can already be been used. So it depends what more do you want in that. To really say, oh, here we have a metaverse. As soon as you have a platform that brings people that can do different things on it, that's kind of a metaverse. So it depends what you add to that. Lots of different companies will claim to be the first node, but only time will tell us which is the eventual right choice. Exactly. And right now, I see only people speaking about it, and I don't see much action. I mean, of course, Meta is building some stuff, and all the big players in the space are trying to position themselves. But in the end, what will it really look like? I don't know, and I'm not sure anyone can really tell what it will look like. Does it have to set specific requirements on the technical aspects? I don't know. Does it have to be related to virtual reality and augmented reality, compatible with virtual reality and augmented reality? I don't know. So yeah, you already can do so much already on different platforms. Zappa, it's going to be a wild metaverse. Yeah, well, it's already quite wild, right? It's already a mess, and it's actually frustrating to see everyone trying to get a piece of the cake. I've seen so many new startups just being like, yeah, metaverse, and then they're not throwing anything new, and trying to raise lots of money. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this word, and I try to avoid it as much as possible because I don't find it specific enough when you're talking about anything or with anyone. Lots of things are calling themselves the metaverse, claiming to be the one. Exactly. Does it have to be one? Everyone right now is enjoying different platforms, and competition is good because that means that it pushes people to constantly be innovating and have maybe lower prices, or competition can be good for the players and users. So yeah, Metamarai, hopefully it will be better than Second Life. Second Life is now old, but I've never used it. But apparently it was good back then. So I'm sure we have learned a lot from that. But yeah, does it have to be something like that? I don't know. Yinch, the metaverse will be a network of interoperable nodes. Maybe, yeah. But then what can you do there? What can you not do? Does it have some limits? Is this just about the simple evolution of the web? Yinch, nothing that is one node can effectively be a network. It's most like the web. Yeah. No, I get that. Would the metaverse investment benefit computer-assisted design along with it? Not necessarily. I don't think so. I don't really see the link necessarily. Do you have something specific in mind? Because so when you see part of an industry that suddenly attracts lots of money and lots of attention, and it's like the hot thing everyone is investing in, well, it can in some way affect other part of this industry only if they're also fundraising, right? It's if you have like a big FOMO for investors at some point on one specific thing, you can actually use that if, let's say, you do something that is related and you're like, oh yeah, people are using the metaverse, so if the metaverse grows, well, our platform is also compatible with this and that. That can be a way to surf on something else wave and FOMO and be like, yeah, we're doing that. It's not exactly the metaverse, but it's related. We're in the same world. If you're raising money at this time, it can help. You can benefit from that. But I don't see really how, without this specific case, I don't see how it can really benefit computer-assisted design. Maybe more people coming into the space, but I'm not even sure. Yinch, there's lots of scope for collaborative product design. Collaborative spatial design, other object or spaces is a strong use case for immersive conferencing. It is, yes. But let's say you're a founder and you're building such a tool for collaborative spatial design, then you can't just be pitching and say, yeah, when the metaverse is here, we are going to grow this and be able to attract this amount of people, because the metaverse isn't here. I mean, how do you define that? How is it really going to affect you directly? That's not enough, right? So if you're dependent on another thing to happen for you to be successful, that's kind of a tricky sell if you're raising money on that. Actually, I used to work on some tools that does that, Yinch, collaborative spatial design, in immersive conferencing, kind of. I was working in virtual reality. It was now 7 years ago, 6 years ago. And we were already able to do that, being able to do in a room, in virtual reality, and work on some design and some, other spaces or object designs with other people, either in the room or not in the room, just in virtual reality. And that was already already possible, you know. So I think it's more of a problem of adoption more than necessarily technology also. And that's always the big thing with technology. It's very tough to even if you see some very interesting trends and growing potential for a product, even if you build it, there's always this gap between the technical aspect on yes that's useful, yes you fit a need, and yes that's super cool, but then you have a huge gap with actual adoption and the success of the company. And I'm speaking knowing about that because we're going through that as with our company. You know, the tech is cool, super innovative, maybe too innovative for the people in the space to get it, but I think we're a bit early. And yes, that's going to be a big thing in 5 years, and I'm sure everyone is going to start investing massively internally inside the larger corporation into things that like we do, but maybe we're a bit too early. Adoption is not here yet because you have first to educate the market, and when you're too small, that's tricky, right? Yinch, I hate to think of companies using an unrealized metaverse as an excuse for why they can't do their job. Yeah, exactly, and especially as technically, what will the metaverse bring that you can't really have access to today? Nothing, right? Apart from the fact that it will unify a number of use cases and a number of people around the same thing. Then, in terms of the technology itself, no one has defined the metaverse as being this technology set like that and working this way that will actually enable these people to and this type of companies to exist. But you can always use the hype, right? I've tried recently over the past year. Every time I was giving a talk, I was trying to explain that yeah, we're talking about metaverse. This kind of thing that we're doing is also part of it in some way, you know, because there's no limit of what is the metaverse. So you need this, you need that, and you will obviously need that too, you know. But it's one of these buzzwords that everyone is focusing on right now. I don't really get why suddenly. But, you know, there's always some hype at some point, and then it dies, not the industry, but the hype. And that's a moment where people can actually do some work and make it happen. Because when you have these big hypes, the industry attracts so many crap, so much crap, really. You have everyone trying to get a piece of it. Everyone is just trying to say they're doing it, even if they're not. People who are... You have the industry that is already in place, and you have all these new people who think they understand it, and so they jump on it, and they're like, yeah, we know as much as you do, even if you've been doing that for years. And you know, it's really weird moment for an emerging technology, and I've seen that in both virtual reality, augmented reality, of course, and also with blockchain. And it's really, really funny to see. Can be very frustrating when you're working in the industry, but yeah, lots of hype. But once the hype dies, it's when you actually see the people that are doing real things that really stick to it and stay there. Yinch, the hype kills the usefulness of the word metaverse. That is so true. And you know, if you are actually doing something for the metaverse, the fact that everyone is trying to talk about it so much right now and say everything and anything about it, it kind of diminishes your work. It's like, okay, I used to work in blockchain, and right now I'm still involved in a blockchain project, and seeing everyone talking about Web3, I feel that it diminishes things. You know, when you say, oh yeah, I've worked in this industry, people are like thinking that you're just jumping into it right now because everyone is talking about it, and so you're just following everyone else. It really diminishes the work some people have done for years, because today you can't just tell if someone is just here for the hype, and new to a space, or if they actually believe in it and are going to stick around. Yeah, Yinj, we were talking about having the label, right? That's the thing. But if it has to happen, if adoption is here, that is not going to have too much effect, right? That's annoying for the people working in the industry. But in terms of adoption, it's not going to kill the concept, because because you have big players working on it, right? But yeah, since no one can really tell what it's going to be, let's wait for these companies to show us what they have in mind. Like, yeah, sure, Meta, you have in mind this metaverse. Okay, build it. Try to find something that is useful for people, and then we'll be able to say if it's good, if it's actually the metaverse, if what's really needed, what it is really. Hinge, we have to think of new words. Is it the words really? Because words change over times. I think it's more about a concept specificities. Like, words have changed, and if in every industry I've worked in the past, all emerging technologies, you have kind of the vanilla definition of the term that everyone understands at some point, and then you have waves of newcomers, and over time some words and some concept change, and you just can't stop it. If everyone is just jumping on it, the media is also using this word in some way, it changes the definition of some words. I don't know if it's really about finding the right words. I feel it's more about defining better what we want, the objective, the benefits for the users, what it is really. Yinch, I am building the foundational demo of a highly scalable immersive multi-user technology. Yes, you are, and that's really pretty cool. So taking action to make this promise a reality. Yeah, no, that's really great. And I think, for what I understand, the project you're working on, you're not, right now trying to do lots of communication and trying to be like, yeah, metaverse here, metaverse there. And so that's the kind of companies that are going to stick with it, even if in 3 months no one talks about the metaverse online anymore. And that's important, and that's the companies that actually create the foundation of new industries, people who really believe in something, see not just how to make it look good and be part of the FOMO, but actually see how it can benefit the community, and then just do it, right? I like how you say that. You say this is trying to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. That's the most important thing. Unfortunately, that's not necessarily the way that is the most rewarding, in the sense that you see everyone getting huge money, big investment round being closed on just companies that are doing talk to talk, right? And not doing much. But that's how it works, right? I feel it's really frustrating to be a founder in this kind of situation. Yeah. You really believe that something is going to happen, that this technology has a lot of potential. You do all the groundwork trying to educate your industry, trying to spread the word, trying to keep the foundations right, not oversell it, being realistic. I feel that maybe if I was less down to earth, the company would be more successful, but I don't even know if that's true. But sometimes I wonder, what if I was just trying to be less down to earth, more unrealistic, selling everything and anything, including things that we can't technically do, but that's okay because no one cares, and I don't know. But it's tough to be a founders in this. Honest founder can never outpromise the optimistic ones. Yes, that's so true. But we're not the one raising the most money or being the most successful, featured in the press and everything else, because we're trying to be realistic, but also there is this question of overpromising, but I also think that there is something about explaining the technology correctly. I feel that when you're trying to explain to people how things work, but also trying to respect how the technology works and not saying things that are not true, because that's not how it works, it adds some barriers also, right? Because you're trying to be honest on what you're promising, but also you're trying to be true to the technological aspect to it. It's kind of tricky, but it's important because the people who get it are the people you want to convince, not necessarily everyone else. So the people who have the ability to get it are the people that you want on board. Yinch, tough balancing act. Yeah, that's true. So as I said before, we are right now trying to see if we can sell our technology, sell the company, and so I've been reading a lot about that, and I've been trying to find some blog posts, some articles about founders' experiences, but not people like, I was trying to find experiences from people like me, meaning people who have been building a tech company, people who are still a small team, still in kind of early days, but who see a real value in the technologies that they've developed. And we hear every day in the news acquisition about news, but no, news about acquisition, but I find it really hard to find much information about it. Every time you look for information as a founder, you find so much information, so much blog post articles, everyone trying to talk about the early days of the company. And then when you move on, you also have some content about leadership, management, hiring, these kind of things. But then you don't have much about founders that exited the company. You can see the news in TechCrunch and else, but you don't really have founders talking about, okay, that's how we've done it. So I managed to find a few that were quite interesting, and I've spent some time on MicroAcquire, and I really like the platform, but the problem I have with the platform is it's only for SaaS companies, so software as service, meaning you have only a focus on specific metrics. And if you're like a deep tech startup, if your company is based around technology and not just numbers, you don't really fit the profile, How can you say, oh, I want to sell my company this amount of money, but then you say, oh, you have maybe 2 clients or 0 clients, and, it's not really made to, I'm looking at the green screen. It's not really made for to sell the tech or to sell the tech company. It's made to sell viable businesses that already have clients making money. So it really much for marketplaces and this kind of businesses. And so that's how I've been thinking for the past few months, because we want to use such a thing. Is there any platform where you can actually sell your business or your technology, but from the technical angle, not from your SaaS metrics, because we're not doing a SaaS company. So I don't know if anyone came across such a thing before. I've tried to look for it. I didn't find anything. Also, MicroAcquire is big and getting bigger. and very active in the scene, and I think they may be just attracting everyone right now. And so I don't know, I haven't seen anything about just the tech angle. I wanted to build something like that, and then I thought, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth to do another one, another project. Also, my co-founder and I, we were thinking about different projects. We even started working on some ideas, and then we were like, no, we can't just start doing other things because it's cool, because we see an interest and everything. We need to just stick to one thing at a time. Ian should say that, yeah, for something to work, you also need to find people who also want it to work, right? And so not just investors who want to sell on their equity regardless on whether it works or not. Yeah, that's correct. For adoption, that's key. It is, yeah. On the financial aspect, but also just to get feedback and to make sure that there is a real demand. There is no worse thing as a founder than spending your time and energy on building something no one wants. It's like, oh yeah, that's interesting, but no one really wants that right now. So it's not just about having clients, but it's also about having people who give you some confirmation that yes, this has a potential. Even once you have built it, it's going to be used by people, and so not just a shiny deck that managed to attract some investors. It helps, but that's not the main thing, right? So yeah, as I was saying, I thought about this idea of a platform where people could advertise their technology, their company, and say, oh, I want to sell the tech. I want just to sell a part of the tech, or I want to sell the company, or I want to do in the between. Sell the tech and the co-founders only, something like that. I didn't find anything, and I thought, for today, why not check out a platform and try to think how this will work. Like, I'm not necessarily thinking, oh, let's build a new platform right now. Just since there is Softr that raised 30 million this week, I've already created an account on the platform a while ago. That would be a nice opportunity to just check out the platform, what it looks like. See, okay, will it be possible to do such a thing using no-code tools only? And see, I don't know if I'm really going to bring that further, but that could be fun just to experiment with it. What do you think? Happy to switch my view. So that's right. I'm not used to websites that are white anymore. I always use the night light and night dark modes. Yeah. So yeah, let's change the view and let's have a look at some website and software. Okay. I need to find where I have some capture on my on Streamlabs. I can't remember. It's a mess. My Streamlabs became a mess over time. It was first very nice, very simple, and now it's just a mess. Okay, what if I do this and that? Yeah, you see something. Okay. The format doesn't work out. So we can just do that. Okay. And make this bigger. That's a bit big. That's maybe a bit big. Okay, okay, okay. I know the problem. Okay. Yes, would be interesting to see how to make existing funding platforms work better for deep tech. Yes, I agree. Is that really the objective? Are deep tech companies a minority? I think we are, and that's a bit sad, but we are. Okay, how? Let's no 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 no. Okay, let's do that. That's still big, right? I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, well let's keep it this way and let's have a look. So that's just the Softr website. I know what's going on with this one actually. Okay, that will do. So that's a Softr website. When you're in the studio side, so they have a bunch of existing templates, and when I saw some of the templates, okay, that changed everything. Okay, I better not touch anything then. Okay, I just won't touch it. I leave my window the size it is. I'm not trying to make it bigger or anything. So that's the Softr website once you are in the studio dashboard. And last time I checked, they had a bunch of example. That seems actually almost too easy to use, like if there is some tricks or something. But let's first have a look at micro hire. Not micro hire, micro acquire. Okay. Okay, so their website seems to really focus on selling fast, and I should already be logged in. So I should be able to see a bunch of companies. So when you're on their website, you can actually have some filters, and you are in the marketplace, so you see the companies. They kind of anonymized in the sense that you don't see the name of the company or anything, which I think is good. You have some information about the financial aspect, if they're using specific platforms. And so you have a description, but then the main thing and the main criteria for the filters are the annual profit, the recurring revenue, the number of customers, the date it was founded. That's actually useful. The team and the price, right? By the way, thank you for your follow on Twitch, Drunk Emu TV. Thanks for your follow on Twitch, and good to have you here. So right now, you also ask what we're making. Right now, we are talking about no-code tools, but also talking about the, let's say, the fact that platforms today are not necessarily adapted to deep tech startups, especially when you want to sell your company. You have a number of platforms, including microacquire, that we see right now, that are really great to help you sell your business, but it's really targeting SaaS companies. So it's targeting companies that are have their business model based on a software as service. So usually it's based on subscription model or else, but it's something that is not custom development, more like a tool that you're going to use online. And you have, that includes marketplaces, tools that you use online, and things that are product based also on large customers and recurring customers. And so this data, like this criteria, makes sense when you're a SaaS company. But if you're not building this kind of businesses, and easy example, my own startup. We are a deep tech company. We have built a really cool machine learning system. And if today, if we're looking to sell the company and the technology, these platforms are not made for us. I mean, here that will just doesn't even fit, because the key aspect of what we're building is the technology. So that's the kind of system we're using, the system we're compatible with, the use cases, because there are more than one use cases. You know, there's our industry, but there's also other industries that could use the same technology if we were just to sell the technology on its own, right? And here, I don't see how we could fit there at all. That wouldn't work. Let's see the next one. Profitable cohort-based platform. Okay, so same. It's all about, I guess, the database also. The database, existing database of users, the fact that they have this amount of customers. It can be interesting to acquire this company, for example, if you are also targeting high school students, right? And so you can use the database of high school students, or just run the business as it is and just keep doing something that already works, right? So when you're building a deep tech company, that's quite different. So what's really different? What doesn't work out? I would say the first things are the filters, the big criteria for this, because here you see, okay, that's how you sort them. Startup types. Okay, so that's the focus of the platform, and that makes sense, right? Even though crypto isn't a startup type. I mean, okay, you could have a DAO, but we're not talking about DAO here. So that's more industry. But startups types, you have SaaS, okay, software as services. Marketplace, okay, that kind of SaaS, but okay. Mobile, that makes sense to put mobile on the side. DTC, so direct to consumer. I'm sure you can actually tick several of them. E-commerce, yeah, that's kind of the same thing as marketplace. Maybe not. Shopify, crypto, micro SaaS, agency, and other. So this kind of first, thing that you're going to use to sort the companies. Well, that's something that when you're a deep tech startup, that doesn't work out. So, for example, instead of startup type, I'm taking some note at the same time. You need to put either industry or technology. I think technology will work better, because you have a bunch of technology that can actually work in different industry, right? So you first want to focus on the technology and then on the industry. Well, I would say both are equally important. Metamorai, if you check all the boxes, it becomes a metaverse. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. But maybe, I mean, if that's your own definition of the metaverse, yeah, sure. So I would say the first thing that is important is to divide the project, the companies, by the technology. And I'm not talking about the language, the programmation language used. I'm more talking about, okay, do you do something related to virtual reality, augmented reality technology? Are you doing something around AI? Are you doing something about, like, the overall technology focus? Are you doing something in robotic? Now that I think about it, it's actually more, could be seen as industry too. Does it have to be the same thing? Actually, maybe. Yeah, kind of. When you think about deep tech, it's actually kind of the same thing. And then you would describe better what the difference is with your own tech and the different use cases that you see. That could be something. Price makes sense. Favorite. Okay, if it's when you have already selected some favorites on the platform. Recurring revenue, same. Is it really a big deal for a deep tech startup? I have seen so many startups that are super cool on the technical aspect, but it takes years to have any revenue because you need to first invest your energy into building the tech. When I take Wild Meta as example, for example, we spent the first year mainly working on the technology. So we spent 6 months purely working on the tech, and then we spent another 6 months improving the tech, but also working on the financial aspect. So trying to raise money, trying to speak to customers. But first, and that's something that can differ with non-deep tech startup, we needed first to make sure that we could do what we said we could do, and it didn't make sense to speak too early to the customers apart from validating the need. But the thing is, if you start, so when we started, we were focusing on B2C and then shifted to B2B. But anyway, if you start talking too early to your customers and you build some kind of expectations, and then you realize that you actually need 2 years of development to make it work, that's a problem when you're a deep tech startup, right? So it's slightly different. And that's a tricky part. Ginshi says this site looks more like a later stage scale-up funding platform. It does, but not all projects are very advanced. I mean, remember Mod Danish, who was on the stream in December. He mentioned that sometimes he managed to sell even ideas, or I think they just built a small database, and that was it. He managed to sell the companies. So I don't know if he did it in these cases through the platform or through something else. He mentioned a few times that he also simply put the word out on social media saying, hey, I'm selling this project. So I don't know. But I also think that this platform is great for people who have been building their SaaS company and they want an idea of what it was. But I don't think that all the projects are very much advanced. I mean, this project, for example, the first one has an annual profit of 1,000, and they are asking for 25K. So it doesn't really look very much later stage to me. They have 10 to 100 customers, so let's say they have 10 customers. That doesn't really look, when you look at the project themselves, thing is, yes, they do focus on the metrics, but that will also attract different kind of buyers depending on the type of companies. There are some very advanced companies, some people who are listing their company. Let's see, this one. So this one is a profitable SaaS business. They're asking for 35 million. And they already have an annual profit of 1.5 million and annual recurring revenue of 3 million, so almost 4 millions. So, and they have a team of 35. That's a lot of people for 10 to 100 customers. That's a lot of people, but that's a company that has been running for a while. So yeah, that company, for example, is quite later stage. But next to that, you have people like this one, which is a micro SaaS. They are making $600 a year and asking for 5K. But that's just one person on their own. So I don't know. I feel that there is room for everyone. But then when you see this, does it say as much about the business? I mean, as a potential buyer, I would buy this for the tech personally and not for the for the recurring revenue. I mean, doesn't make sense, right? You're not going to buy this project because it's making money. You're buying this project because it's based on some tech. Let's see more. Okay, so you're going to buy this project not because of the numbers here, but because of the tech. It's the slider-based no-code CSS editor. So if you think that it works well with your own product, then you just buy it and you acquire everything. So, but you know, I feel that it's, if you're a potential acquirer and you see this, there isn't enough information about the technical aspects from this card to say, oh yeah, the tech is cool and that will work for me, because you have just 2 lines here and the focus is on the numbers. Inch, well, later than pure early stage startup without any revenue yet. Yes, exactly. Well, I think it's just different type of businesses. Why you don't have revenue? Because your business model requires long sales cycle, because your platform is really young, or because you're really not good at customer acquisition. You know, there's a bunch of things, but yeah. Cribit. I never know how to pronounce the 7 in your name. You say, how's everything going? You were working on some AI, right? Yes, so my startup, while Meta, is building machine learning based bots for video games. And yeah, and so as I mentioned before, we're looking this year at selling the tech or selling the company, and actually it's not like in a bad way. I know some people are like, oh, it's quite an exciting thing we're exploring, just to fasten the adoption, because adoption is slow. Sales cycle with studios are very long, and so we believe that if we join forces with someone that is more firepower, right? So someone that is bigger, someone that is maybe has already an existing technology that is complementary with what we do, that we have more potential to facilitate adoption of machine learning in game development for this specific use case. And also there's a bunch of ways to use this technology that could be interesting to explore. We just feel that we reached the limit of what we can do with the size of our team, and fundraising is not part of the picture for many other reasons. So yeah, we were looking at different platforms here, and I don't feel like any of these platforms really work for deep tech startups, right? And that's a shame, because they really look neat. They have big communities. Now I'm starting wondering the profile of the people using these platforms. You know, is it more companies trying to grow and acquire smaller teams, or is it people, individuals that are interested in owning a business, you know, becoming an entrepreneur and having their own business, but instead of starting from scratch, they have the skills to grow it, and so they buy something that is already existing, like a marketplace or something that exists, and then they just focus on growing it and improving it. I don't know. Maybe a bit of both. Certainly a bit of both. So yeah, the first thing I think to transform a website like this one into something that works for deep tech startups would be to change the filters and also the visual aspect. Like here we have a card that gives you annual profit and numbers. So what about we change the metrics? We swap the metrics, and instead of this kind of metrics, we add things about the technology, the programming language you use also, because I think this takes in you have to take that in consideration when you're acquiring a technology, because you need to make sure that it works with your own tech stack, right? Even though, yeah, I don't know how much it's important, but I think it's kind of the kind of thing that, yeah, that you have to take that in consideration to think about the potential additional work you have to put to transform this technology into something that fits into your own ecosystem and your own tech stack, right? So for that, knowing the programming languages would be key. What else? Hey, Ole Frida, hi, how are you doing? Thanks for your follow on Twitch. Good to have you here. Hope you are doing good and having a great weekend. I started this stream thinking, oh yeah, we'll do something light today, I'm a bit tired. And now here we are thinking about transforming MicroAcquire into something that works for deep tech startups and you know, thinking about the big questions around that. I didn't necessarily plan this way. Roy, perhaps in evaluating startups where building new technology is the focus, they could be ranked by how the specific tech is cited. Just like how academic papers are ranked. I don't know if you've sent this before. My connection is crapped. No, you haven't sent it before. That's the first time I see your message. Okay, so you say instead of valuing startups, so instead of having asking price, right, they could be ranked by how the specific tech is seated. Yeah, well, I think it's I don't know if it's really about sorting them. The green screen is annoying me right now. Sorry for that. You see all the gray thing when I move a bit too much my hands. Anyway. Yeah, so I don't know really if it's about sorting them, because the sorting system, you usually want to know what's new on such a website. Let's say you are on Gumtree, right? Even if you do have some criteria, you still always want to see what's new, because it's a marketplace. So with marketplaces, you want to catch up on what you've potentially missed. You could have filters that are applied to your dashboard, like that's the filters you're interested in, and you always see these things, you know, the things that you're interested in. So that could be something. But I don't know if you can really rank, because if you have a platform that have different type of technologies, how can you rank, and how can you build a system that actually works if it's about being ranked by the number of times or how the specific tech is mentioned? You can actually easily go over such a system and say, oh yeah, I'm going to use all the buzzwords, so my project is going to be top ranking, right? But you're right, as a filtering mechanism, it's more important to check the technology that you're interested in rather than any other metrics, like measurable metrics. I mean, it's it's always cool to have measurable metrics. It's always very useful, and especially, well, in sales or fundraising, you want to be able to say, oh, we help these people doing this X time faster, or save Y amount of money. It's harder with deep tech. Trust me, I've tried. You try to find some metrics. Measuring that is sometimes very difficult. But yeah, no, that's actually a good idea. And I'm more thinking about like more swapping filters more than I'm worried about ranking things that are not on the same foundation. We're not talking about the same thing. But yeah, maybe that could work. Olifrida, your English is bad. Sorry. No, no worries. I'm not an English native speaker either, so no worries. We're not judging anyone on their English here for sure. Okay, so if we were swapping some criteria, focus more on the tech, so on the industry and technology, like the type of technology used, the programming language, and I think something important that I don't really see here is what are you really selling, and that has some impact on the type of product you want to see, right? Especially when we talk about deep tech, because if you want to buy only the technology itself, that means that the tech needs to be mature enough and you need to be able to adapt it to your own system on your own. So that means that the language, the programming language, need to fit your tech stack, or you need to already have in-house people who can do that. So I think it's important to separate what the companies are really selling. Are they selling the technology alone? Are they selling the technology plus, let's say, the team or part of the team, or at least the founders? How many people do you have in this package, right? And also what the profile. But yeah, how many people do you include in the package? And do you sell the company entirely, meaning all the assets that include the name of the company, the brand, the logo, everything, and you just buy the company entirely, like it's a proper acquisition and not just an asset acquisition. And for what I understand, and from all the research I've done, this seems to be quite important in terms of how you frame the deal. And so I don't think that here you have any options on that, right? You are selling the company. Yeah, you're just selling the company. So I don't think it really applies anyway, because you don't have much information on the tech. But if the tech was the focus, then you will need to be able to say if it's just the tech or if it comes out the package with the company. Right, the more tech is cited by leaders in the field are not being built, as not being built, the bigger the impact the built tech will have. Is it really about the tech or the use cases? That's a great way of spotting opportunities for sure, yes. But then, is it about the tech or the use cases? That's the big question, right? I think it's more about the use cases, and techie people like us, we're focusing on the tech because that really excites us. But I think for most people, it's more about the use case and the problem you're solving more than how you're solving it. And also because most people don't have enough information about the technology, so they're going to say, oh yeah, AI this and AI that, but in the end they don't understand what kind of AI we're talking about, what kind of approach, what is really feasible today. I actually have seen that a lot, where I've been trying to explain some machine learning aspect to some people, and sometimes they get it, but sometimes they just stay in this very high level where it's just I don't get it, I don't care about it, and I don't see really the limitation, because in my head you can do everything and anything that everyone is talking about online today, and you don't try to understand the limitation of this specific use case, this specific thing. Olifrida, I took a look at your work. You're doing very good things. Thanks. How about you? What are you working on, Olifrida? What about we have a look at Softr, and see, hypothetically, if there are any template available where we can imagine this idea could be based on, like, could we in a few minutes transform some existing thing into maybe the foundation of a platform that could actually help people build and more importantly sell their tech company, maybe. So let's see, you can start from scratch, okay, which I think, in my opinion, it's never a good idea when you're trying new tools. We have an employee directory, nope. Client portal, I don't think that will work here. Inventory tracking, doesn't look like it either. Applicant tracking, no. That would be useful within organization though, not necessarily with the pictures, without the pictures, to avoid too much bias, but that would be very useful to use such a thing. I mean, I remember hiring people in different jobs, and personally, I'm a big fan of using big spreadsheet because I love to be able to organize myself how I want. So depending on the need, I just build myself a dashboard the way I want, and I have no limitation. But yeah, I understand that using such a platform can facilitate things, especially Softr. What I understand, it's related. It's linked to kind of a Airtable database, so it's very easy to use, and more people are familiar with Airtable. I'm not sure that's the only way that's the only platform to use Airtable. I don't know. So let's see, sales CRM, no. What do we have? Marketplaces. Let's go directly to marketplaces because that's what it is. We have one right here that we can preview. That seems to be about listing things. Okay, marketplace, right? Of course, it's about listing things. Real estate, e-commerce. So it's not e-commerce. Oh, there's just 3 of them. So let's see. What does this look like? Preview. Okay, so you have some images, lots of images. Will this have the right criteria? Maybe, but it seems to be more how to say that, not really one-to-one. Like, what I have in mind would be more something where, like Gumtree, where you have these ads, you can sort them in many ways, but in the end you're exchanging directly with the right person. You're not talking to an intermediary. And here, it does look like you're talking to an intermediary in a sense that it's a website for a real estate agency. Now, let's see. This one is for co-living space. Okay. What about we just see it as a web page? Yeah, that would be easier. Okay. So you have filters, more filters, you can search, and you have like brain freeze. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know the name for that. It's not boxes, it's like, yeah, kind of item boxes. And you have kind of a reminder of the tag on the top. That's a thing that could work, right? So what about we modify this really quickly? Nope. Okay, what did I just do? Okay, use template. No, you don't want to use the template. Fine. What are you doing? Oh no, it's just a bit slow. Okay, to load the template. It's very slow. Okay, so we are just loading a message that says tablet and mobile screen are not supported. Ooh, I know. That's because my this, my window is not big enough. So it is detected as, I see, yeah, it's detected as a mobile screen. Okay. Okay, I see. What can we do about that? What if I do this? Nope. This? No, that won't change anything. Okay, so I'm just going to try to make that bigger, or maybe right here. Nope, maximum size. It's really weird because it looks like it's zoomed in for some reason. I don't know. Or it's stretched on the screen. Yeah, it does look like it's stretched. I don't know why. Maybe I messed up last time. I did some stuff. I didn't really pay too much attention. I messed up with it. So, open in Studio. Is it big enough? Nah. Yes, I think it works, right? I haven't used this platform before, so I have no idea how easy it is. Let's say if we wanted to change this and say instead of find co-living space, let's say require tech startups. No, tech assets and businesses, right? Subtitle. What could we say about that? Find and reach out to tech companies find, reach out and acquire tech companies reach out tech companies founders and technical assets. Easily. That just placeholders, right? We're just having fun here. Federico, website should be more expensive. You shouldn't have to mess with the size to make it work. Hey Federico, it's nice to see you. It's been a long time. How are you doing? It's not really the website that is not responsive. It's oh no, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, I think it's the case in lots of platforms like that where you have to build something. It's just you can't modify a page, or you can't really see your page plus modify things if you're in a very small window, right? I know that it shouldn't happen, but it's okay because it's an online tool. That if it was just a website, that would piss me off. But since it's about building things, I understand that you can't really do that on a window that is too small. But yeah, I agree. The weird thing is it started loading, and then I didn't know, was I already on the page or not? Was I just waiting for the template to load, because templates can take some time? I had no information about that. Okay. Image. Can we change the image? Do we have... Oh, they have a library. Okay, what about technology? What do they have for that? Federico, I'm good. Bit watching for an hour or so. Keep going. Oh, thanks. I didn't see you in the same time. I already have one screen, so I can't keep track of who's around on the chat. I keep an eye on the chat though, but not who's part of the stream. So yeah, it's good to see you. I feel that I haven't seen you around for almost a year. Or maybe it's just that. Oh no, maybe not a year. Maybe a few months. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. Okay, what about this? No, too techy. No, not techy enough. That could do. Because that doesn't mean anything. Oh, what about that? No, it's just two guys. It not diverse enough. I mean, they look like startup founders that you can find on TechCrunch, but that's not what we want. Nope. That's nice, but pink doesn't appeal to many people outside of the gaming scene and streamers and yeah. Okay. Here we have some people working in VR. Too serious. Okay, I think I'm going to stick. Where is it already? The keyboard. What's this one? No. Keyboard here. Hands, keyboards. That's easy. Okay, good. So we do have a world map behind. Can I have something else? Is there anything else? What if I use that? Oh yeah, no. Illustrations, maybe. What? Okay, I see. I see how it works. Ooh, there's lots of things. We need something very simple. Crap. Almost nothing or something very simple. I want just to do a quick prototype here, so we don't really care about what it looks like really. Nope. Okay, what about one of the first one was something like that. No, without the thing. What's the name for that? Rocket? Not Ricket. Rocket. Nope. Fine. I'm so tired. I can't even remember the words in English. Speaking is okay. Finding the word for something I have in mind. Okay, what about that? Can I just make it a different size? No. No repeat. Auto. No. Cover. No. Contain. Okay, I don't like that. So we're just going to remove it. And that's it. Okay. No image in the background. And the button shouldn't say explore spaces. Space launcher. Yeah, that can work. That could be the word. It says explore spaces. Explore opportunities. No, explore businesses. Busy businesses. Yeah. Okay, so that works. What about next? That is actually the key part. Design is something else, but that is the key part. Oh, so you have to set up a table based for that to change that. Interesting. I thought we would be able to change the different things. What about we set up a table? Oh, I have to put my Airtable API key. Can I just do it without that? I don't want to put my API key right here. Okay, that's really odd. Okay, so let me check. If I go into another web browser that you shouldn't be able to see. Yeah, I don't see it. That's good. Okay. What about if I go into my Airtable. Am I connected already? I think I am. Yes. Okay. So what if I add a base? Okay. Got it. And then what do I need to do? So I created a base that is just very simple. Getting started, templates, no. Oh, I remember I did that already in the past. Like linking an Airtable, getting the API, and the key. I can't remember if it's per table that you have this key or not. Let's see. Create a shared view. No. How can I do that? When I click, it says Airtable API key. Okay. How to find your Airtable API key? Yeah, it's linked to the account, not to the table. Crap. I don't want to use my Airtable account API because I'm using my Airtable for some stuff with my company, and yeah, no, I don't want to share that with a third party. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Why would I have to do that? I understand that you need to link your account, but really? Isn't there another way of doing that? I mean, how do people feel about sharing the data and not really sharing the data, but like connecting different apps? Yinch, they need to provide dummy data for demoing. Exactly, yeah. Like, why? Why can't I just see what it looks like? What is that? Embed block, no. That's really surprising, right? Visibility, and that is just background color. Because I don't want right now to create a complete new Airtable account for that. I don't want to link my accounts without trying, and you know, it's just to experiment. Come on. That sucks, right? Connect? No, they really need the API key. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to create another Airtable account. I don't like that. Okay, so I can't use this web browser. I have to use another one. Okay, Chrome. I'm never using Chrome because it doesn't work. I have some problem with my Chrome. It never updates. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Sign up for free, and I'm creating with a different email. I'm glad I have several emails for these kind of situations. Okay. Password. Oh, I don't have my password manager on this web browser. It's funny how, you know, simple things like web technology can sometimes become very complex in terms of UI, and because you're logging in there and not here, and okay. Password. Crap. Okay, it is not a good password, but who cares? Okay, so now going to my account. Okay. Generate an API key. Okay. Copy. I am going to, just in case, not show the capture for a few seconds here. Time to log into this dummy account. Yeah, because it, of course, it shows the key. Okay. So what's next? Let's show you again this. So I just click on do that, right? And then it says copy the template base to your table. Copy. Okay. No, that's not. Interesting. Okay. So we do have a copy. It's working. Okay. Finish. Refresh. Okay, well, let's say it's working. Seriously? I do see the table right here. It's here. That's the table they created. It should be linked. It's not, but it is. What if here, instead of... Okay. I can't modify anything? That's a mess. I thought it would be straightforward. Come on. Okay, I can see I copy paste. That's not the right account. No, that's not the right account. I created an account just for that. And it's... okay, I get it. I know why. Okay, fine. We stay calm. I'm also so tired. I get what I missed. And yeah. Okay. So, what about... I thought this thing about the Airtable account maybe for next time, or I try to do something and on the Discord I share the result with you and we exchange. This certainly is not going to be an idea to push you further, right? It's just me messing around, and I have to say I'm a bit disappointed because I see the Airtable here, I just can't touch it, so I have to copy it, and yeah, that's messing around with my accounts. But we see how it works, and it seems straightforward, right? So you just have a listing, which means that if we were to try this as an experimentation and share the platform to a few people, we could just create a form that asks about specific information that would be automatically added right here. So if we change the filters, the information, the type of information we ask, we should be able to do something like that where we click on it. Well, not here, but where we click on it, we have all the information that would be required to acquire a deep tech startup, right? So, yeah, let me figure this out offline. Just link to the right account, create a clean database, maybe try around a little bit. I wish we had the opportunity to try a bit further. But yeah, let me mess around with that a bit. I'll share on Discord a bit more information how I get along with that. If any of you have any experience with Softr, I'm just trying to learn a bit more about it. Try this idea for fun, and also because if something like that existed, that would be easier for me, and I would definitely be interested in trying it. But yeah, I'm going to try to do that really quickly, have a quick mock-up, and play around with the platform. I know I picked Softr because I know they just raised some money, and that seems very easy when you're building something like that fits into the template, like, you know, marketplaces and these kind of things. So if I can just have a dummy platform, that could actually be quite fun to play around with and get some feedback, and, you know, maybe inspire someone to build something like that for founders like me. I think I'm going to call it a day because I'm just exhausted, and so I'm going to be frustrated if I have other problem like the Airtable problem today. Um, so as I said, I have reached out to a few people for the next AMA. Hopefully, I'll have something to announce, someone to announce soon. We have some time. I mean, the next AMA is supposed to be in 2 weeks, so I have 2 weeks to find someone. That should be fine. Next week will be a gaming stream. I haven't yet selected which game we'll be playing. I know that the gaming stream on the most popular format on the channel, maybe we'll drop them at some point. But I like gaming. I like to try new video games, and the gaming stream kind of forces me to do that. And I like it. At the end, I'm like happy to have tried this game. So yeah, I'll certainly put a selection of games closer to the next stream next week. And if anyone is not yet on the Discord, feel free to join. You have some link to join the Discord on the different channel, depending on where you're watching from. But yeah, that's usually a nice way of keeping in touch. I mean, we have a bunch of people who are usually active on the Discord, so especially Yinch and Zappa. But it's open to everyone. So, you know, if you want to talk about some project you're building, if you want to keep talking about no-code tools, share some project you're building with no-code tools. If you're interested in continuing this project together, maybe, I'll be happy to, you know, do another stream like this one where we maybe go a bit deeper on the tool itself and what we could do with that, you know, once I figure a bit more this Airtable thing. And yeah, that's about it for today. Please do enjoy your weekend, get some rest, get some stuff done, whatever makes you happy, but just enjoy the weekend, try to do something different from the week, and I hope to see you soon. See, I'm tired, I can't even say goodbye. Hope to see you all very soon. Have a great end of the weekend, everyone. Bye.